Commissioner, really good to speak to you. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll start on the subject of equivalence. Can you give us any sense of the timings that you're working to here? Do you have a deadline in mind when it comes to deciding whether to grant equivalence and going ahead and granting it?
Well, good morning, and I'm thrilled to be with you this morning. Can I just say that you've outlined our timeline initially is to reach a memorandum of understanding by the end of March, and that will be about how we operate as partners. Then we will look at the details. So we don't have a fixed timeline in each month as to what needs to be done for many reasons. But firstly, we already warned market participants of what would happen with Brexit. There would be change. Some have made changes, but I'm happy to say that our preparation work was good because there was no market disturbance of significance when January the 1st came. There are a number of areas which we already took action. They are timelined, and we will be looking within the European Union to see how we can move those critical infrastructures within the EU. And I suppose the future hinges on us understanding fully how our partners, the United Kingdom, expect to continue now that Brexit is an absolute reality. We have heard words like deregulation. We know that Brexit was about moving away from what Europe has done across all sectors, and possibly including the financial sector. So we are ready to sit down and engage, and I think it's really important that we get the first step right. In a way, what we will be doing with the United Kingdom with this memorandum is similar to our relationship with the United States. So we have regulatory cooperation. So we will build those, if you like, steps with our UK counterparts, and we always have financial stability in mind. The UK did grant some equivalence back to the EEA countries. They were not of significance to the European Union. And finally, to say that throughout the last year, we have engaged, of course, with the United Kingdom on financial services, but really to find out what their future vision is, if you like. We have sent detailed questionnaires. We have got some information, but we will be pursuing the UK for more information around those particular issues.
Right, Commissioner, thank you so much for your time. And you make an excellent point there where you say a lot of this will be about the future vision. And we know already that the UK has signaled Brexit could potentially trigger a Big Bang 2.0. Big Bang, that means, of course, more deregulation to come. But you say for the European Union, what matters is a level playing field. So it's confusing how you get a deal based on this, because it does seem that you're moving in very opposite ways.
Well, remember, we didn't move anywhere. We're within the European Union. The United Kingdom have moved in quite a significant way with the vote in 2016. What we are doing as an EU 27 is ensuring that our financial system is fit for purpose for the future. We clearly want and desire a relationship with the United Kingdom. We have it already. In the last moments of last year, we agreed a cooperation and trade agreement. That's really positive. But even there, as you see, there are difficulties because the reality of being a third country has come home to roost, if you like. On financial services, we're not moving. We will move in a way which strengthens our regulation. The global economy on finance is a reality. We need to make sure that the regulation of it is fit for purpose. And I did make a very important point very recently that, we do recall the past on light touch regulation in financial services, and it did no one any favours. And we've moved away from that. We want effective regulation. And when it comes to the United Kingdom, it's very clear that London is a major financial centre. That will not change overnight, but it's also important to acknowledge that its significance was part and parcel of being within the European Union. So these are realities because of Brexit. But I do hope that when the memorandum is agreed between us, that we will then move to the detail on specifics. And I hope we can make progress and cooperate. However, and it's important to say this, there is no recreating the single market for financial services for the United Kingdom when they have decided to leave the single market. So what I'm saying here very clearly is change is coming.
Change is coming, and we hear that very loudly. Let me ask you about some other changes that we've seen in the market. You said that we'd seen things there was no chaos in financial markets at the time of Brexit, which was to regulators' credit. Can I ask you about where derivatives trading takes place, though, and how much you care about that at the Commission? Because there does seem to be some evidence that euro-denominated derivatives trading moved from Europe to New York in the early weeks of January. So it It didn't move from London to the EU, it moved from London to New York. Does that matter to you at the Commission?
We're well aware of what's happening in the marketplace, and I had very important meetings yesterday on this particular point. Two issues here. One is that we did speak to market participants about the realities of Brexit around derivatives. And yes, we understand that there is some movement towards the US. We're aware of all of these developments, and indeed they all feed into our work here. And fundamentally, our work here in the Commission is to understand the future of the European Union's financial system with Brexit, clearly, because that's what we're discussing, but equally with the global context in mind, with the evolution of technology and huge changes in that sector, in the financial sector. So we are aware of those points. When you ask me, do I worry, am I concerned? I'm concerned about everything that might impinge on the financial stability of the European Union. I've listened to your previous interview about COVID, and again, we have to take that context also when we look to the future. But look, at this point, it is a relief that we have a trade agreement with the United Kingdom. Heavens above, what would have happened if I'm speaking to you now with no deal? It would be a very difficult place to even try and envisage. So we are in a better place. I believe that we are now ready, certainly from the EU side, to move forward. But equally, to be very clear to our UK colleagues, our friends, that we want to make sure that we move in a direction that is best fit for the European Union of 27. And perhaps there is another reality that may have happened with COVID in mind, that the idea of one major centre for any particular sector may not be as important in the future as in the past. We're all now relocated to wherever we live, and we are able to do business. So we are in challenging times, perhaps, and changing times. And I look forward to the end of this year, when hopefully we will have completed all of this work, and we can sit back and say, look, we did good work. We worked with our UK colleagues, and we came to a good solution.
Right. And Commissioner, I mean, you make it very clear that for you it's about protecting the integrity of the single market. Everyone in Europe makes that very clear. But as Anna said, we have seen evidence that some of that money and assets are moving now to New York. How much do you worry about Wall Street? Because this is probably a much bigger beast, and it's further away, I guess it's fair to say, from the EU sphere of influence.
Well, remember, as I've said already, we have very good regulatory cooperation with the United States. So we have already a very strong bond there. And I believe that we are on the same path when it comes to regulatory issues for solving problems. The model we have with the United States is certainly a good one as an initial step when we look to the United Kingdom. But clearly, the US was never part of the European Union. The UK was. So therefore, it has exactly the same regulatory framework today. Our big question, and we cannot answer that this morning, as much as we might like to, is to understand how the UK intends to be for the future. And I suppose part of our work is to try, in our contacts with our UK colleagues, is to understand in some way how they intend to proceed. So, you know, we worry about many things here. I think our main worry at the moment is public health. But it is not beyond the bounds of possibility that we resolve these issues to a satisfactory conclusion. And that is the job I'm charged with.